Hi everyone, and welcome back. I'm here with my friend and colleague, ALEC Walker. ALEC and I were students together here at the School of Public Health. He's a professor in our department, and I've asked him here for a couple of reasons. Later on, he's going to take you through a paper. We're going to go through an exercise, a critique of the literature. He's going to present to you some background about a retrospective cohort study that you're asked to read. He's going to present some questions to you that we're going to ask you to think about and discuss on our discussion forum. And later he's going to come back and give you another video where he gives you his opinions on these questions and hopefully incorporates some of the comments that you've made. But before we do that, there's another reason I've asked ALEC to come along today. Well, first of all, ALEC, you're a physician.
That's right.
Okay. And but you've made a decision sometime in your life to not practice medicine, but instead to be a full-time, full-fledged, card-carrying epidemiologist. You went and got another degree, a doctorate in epidemiology. First of all, how important is a course like this, epidemiology and basic biostatistics, for clinicians? And why did you make that change?
Well, the two are related. A course like this is important because the clinical decisions that we make involve a evaluation of likely outcomes under one treatment or another treatment or not treating at all. And the quantifying that is really an epidemiologic question of people with whom I do a particular treatment, how many will get better, how many might have an adverse effect or whatever. So the fundamental questions that animate our treatment decisions really are epidemiologic questions. And it was realizing that. I took a course in epidemiology when I was in medical school, and I realized that this was the key into the rationale for why we were doing what we were learning to do.
Now, ALEC, currently your research interest is pharmacoepidemiology.
That's right.
That didn't exist as a field when we were students, but now it's a fairly hot topic, hot field to be in. What exactly is pharmacoepidemiology? Why is it important, and why have you decided to specialize in that these days?
Well, pharmacoepidemiology takes the techniques of epidemiology that we're learning in this course and applies them to the specific question of the safety of drugs, medical devices, medical procedures more generally. And the connection is that we can think of a population of people who have gotten a particular drug in comparison to a population of people who are otherwise similar who got a different drug. And we use epidemiologic techniques to come to conclusions about what the effects of the drug are. So that's what pharmacoepidemiologists do. It really started as an important area before we were students. It was the thalidomide disaster in the late 1950s and early 1960s, where women who took what everybody thought was a completely safe sleeping medication had in large numbers children with terrible birth defects in which their arms and legs were short. And nobody realized this, the connection. And so this went on for several years until finally some astute clinicians realized that the babies with the birth defects, all of them, or almost all of them, they found that the mothers had taken this drug, and they began to put two and two together. That was the start of the current interest in studying the safety of drugs, and it's a field that's grown and grown since then. It's moved from a field of simply clinical question to now to be an epidemiological field, and now the clinical perspective and the epidemiologic perspective just go hand in hand together.
And you're teaching a class in pharmacoepidemiology right now, so we're fortunate to have Alex take a break from that class and come here. Hopefully in the future we'll have courses maybe in pharmacoepidemiology that could build on what we're doing in this class. But now I want Alex to put on the other hat that I've asked him to wear today. We're talking about cohort studies, and we're talking about prospective cohort studies and retrospective cohort studies, and what I've asked Alec to do is to select a paper that uses the retrospective cohort study design, present it to you. You'll have access to it. He's going to give you some questions. So what I'd first like Alex to do is to give us some background on the paper that he's going to be discussing, that you're going to be reading. So, Alec, what is the paper that the students will be dealing with, and what does it deal with?
Well, the paper is by Line Rasmussen in Denmark, and it deals with the question of how diabetes occurrence is different in persons with HIV versus people without HIV, and begins to explore some of the reasons for diabetes occurrence. This is important for drug epidemiologists because the initial questions came up around whether the drugs used to treat HIV were causing diabetes. And I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about that, and then we'll talk about the paper.
Okay.